They gave me a $25 gift card for graduating MIT. $25. Not even a full tank of gas. Not dinner at a real restaurant. A crumpled Visa card in a drugstore envelope, handed across a Denny's booth while my twin sister's wedding binder sat open beside my water glass. $120,000 in vendor deposits. My father's signature on every check. My mother said it loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. You understand weddings cost more than graduations. I checked the balance in the bathroom. They'd already spent $1.24 at a gas station. The email arrived at 6:47 a.m. on a Tuesday in March, and for exactly 9 seconds, I believed my life was about to change. Congratulations, Miss Martinez. We are pleased to offer you admission to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology graduate program in robotics engineering, with a merit-based scholarship of $45,000. I read it 3 times sitting on the edge of my twin bed in the apartment I shared with 2 roommates and a persistent mold problem. My hands shook. The scholarship covered most of tuition. I'd done it. 4 years of existing on ramen and library air conditioning. 4 years of 3 a.m. problem sets and weekend shifts at the campus bookstore. It was all worth it. My first instinct wasn't to celebrate. It was to call my parents. I should have known better. The phone rang 4 times before my mother picked up. Background noise. A hairdryer. Cabinets slamming. My sister's voice asking something about fondant flavors. Mom, I said, my voice embarrassingly breathless. I got in. MIT. Full ride, basically $45,000 scholarship. Silence. Not the good kind. The kind where you can feel someone's attention splitting in half. That's nice, honey. Her tone was the same one she used when I told her I made Dean's List. Flat. Distracted. Listen, I'm glad you called. Sophia's having a crisis with the wedding cake. Can you believe the bakery wants to charge extra for fondant roses? $18 per rose. Highway robbery. Mom. MIT. I heard you, Zoe. That's wonderful. Really. The hairdryer shut off. I heard her say something muffled to my sister, then she was back. We'll talk about it at dinner tonight, okay? I really have to go. Sophia's tasting is at 10 and we're running late. The call lasted 18 seconds. I know because I stared at the timer after she hung up. I wasn't always invisible. Or maybe I was, and I just didn't notice until Sophia's engagement ring showed up. We're twins. 11 minutes apart. She came first, which my mother mentions at every possible opportunity, as if those 11 minutes granted Sophia some cosmic birthright to preferential treatment. Growing up, I told myself the differences were coincidental. Sophia got the bigger bedroom because she had more clothes. She got the car because she had a job that required driving. She got the college fund because, actually, I never got an explanation for that one. When we turned 15, our parents threw Sophia a quinceañera at the Riverside Event Center, 200 guests, a live mariachi band, a choreographed waltz with our father that they practiced for weeks. Her dress cost $1,800 and had hand-sewn beading that caught the light like a disco ball. My quinceañera happened 3 months later in our backyard, 40 people, a Bluetooth speaker playing a Spotify playlist, burgers on the grill. My dress came from Macy's clearance rack and had a broken zipper I safety pinned shut in the bathroom. When relatives asked why the difference, my mother said, Sophia's more social, Zoe prefers low-key. I never said I preferred low-key. For Sophia's high school graduation, our parents bought her a Toyota Corolla, certified pre-owned, only 12,000 miles, that new car smell still clinging to the upholstery. I watched them hand her the keys in the driveway while neighbors clapped. For my graduation, same ceremony, same honors distinction, same diploma, I got a bus pass. You're going to college in the city, my father said, as if that explained it. You won't need a car. Sophia went to community college 10 minutes from home. She drove that Corolla every single day. The family dinner that night was at El Torero, the Mexican restaurant my parents loved because it had half-price margaritas on Tuesdays. I arrived at 6:15 p.m. to find my entire extended family already seated at a long table near the kitchen. My parents, Sophia and her fiancé Derek, Aunt Rosa, Uncle Carlos, three cousins, and my maternal grandparents. I slid into the empty chair at the far end. No one looked up. Sophia's wedding binder sat open in the center of the table like a sacred text, 3 inches thick, white leather, tabs color-coded by vendor category. She was flipping through the catering section, pointing at photos of herb-crusted salmon and chocolate ganache towers. "We're thinking a mix of plated and buffet," Sophia said, her engagement ring catching the overhead lights. "Plated for the main course, buffet for dessert." The venue said that keeps costs down. My mother leaned over, reading the estimate page. "Still $38,000 for food and beverage, that's with the 20% venue discount." My father didn't flinch. He pulled out his checkbook, the same checkbook he'd said was too tight when I asked for help with textbooks last semester, and started filling in numbers. I watched his pen move across the deposit line. $8,000. His signature, big and looping, like he was signing a Declaration of Independence. "Do we need to put down the DJ deposit tonight too?" Sophia asked. "How much?" my father said. $18.50. Another check, another signature. I cleared my throat. "So I got into MIT today." Sophia looked up, genuinely surprised. "Oh my God, Zoe, that's amazing." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. At least she meant it. "When do you start?" "September. And I got a scholarship 45,000. My cousin Isabella whistled. "Damn, Z, that's legit." My mother set down her margarita glass. "That's wonderful, honey. We're proud of you." The words landed like styrofoam, light, hollow, gone the second they hit air. "MIT," Aunt Rosa repeated, shaking her head with a smile. "Your daughter's going to MIT, Patricia. Do you know how incredible that is?" My mother waved a hand. "Of course we know. Zoe's always been smart. Always been smart. As if intelligence were some passive trait I was born with, like brown eyes or double-jointed thumbs. Not something I'd worked for. Not something I'd sacrificed for." My father folded the checks and slid them into envelopes. "We'll have to celebrate," he said vaguely. "Maybe dinner next week." "Actually," my mother cut in, "next week is the final dress fitting for Sophia, and the florist consultation, and I think the photographer wants to do engagement shots." "Week after then," my father said. We never had that dinner. Sophia's wedding consumed everything. Every conversation, every weekend, every dollar. I started keeping a mental tally of the deposits I watched my father write. Venue, $18,000. Catering, $8,000. Photography, $4,500. Videography, $2,800. Flowers, $3,200. DJ, $1,850. Dress and alterations, $4,500. Cake, $890. Invitations and programs, $650. The numbers climbed past $120,000 by April. Meanwhile, I filled out FAFSA forms alone at the kitchen table. My parents hadn't offered to co-sign loans, hadn't asked if I needed help with moving costs or housing deposits, hadn't mentioned MIT again after that dinner. I worked 25 hours a week at the campus library, shelving books and manning the circulation desk for $12.50 an hour. I tutored underclassmen in calculus and physics on weekends for $20 an hour, cash only. I lived in the robotics lab during winter breaks because it was warmer than my apartment and saved me from turning on the heat. My diet consisted of ramen, peanut butter sandwiches, and protein bars I bought in bulk from Costco with a borrowed membership card. I hadn't eaten out at a real restaurant in 8 months. I owned 3 pairs of jeans and rotated the same 5 shirts. And my parents were signing checks for $8,000 without blinking. Graduation week arrived in mid-May. I ordered printed invitations from Etsy, simple, elegant, expensive enough to feel official. I mailed one to my parents with a handwritten note on the back. I'd really love for you to be there. It would mean everything. I texted them the ceremony details 3 times, sent a calendar invite, called my mother twice to confirm. "We'll be there," she said both times. "Of course we'll be there." I believed her. I booked 6 extra guest tickets through the university portal. Reserved seats in the auditorium, third row, center section, perfect view of the stage. I mapped out parking options and texted them the lot addresses. I even looked up nearby restaurants for a post-ceremony lunch, somewhere nicer than Denny's, somewhere we could sit and talk and maybe they'd actually see me. The night before graduation, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at my phone, reading and rereading the last text from my mother. "So proud of you, sweetie. See you tomorrow." For a moment, I let myself imagine it. My parents in the audience, holding flowers. My mother crying when they called my name. My father standing to clap, the way he'd stood when Sophia got her associate's degree from community college. A real celebration. Acknowledgement that I'd done something worth noticing. I fell asleep at 3 a.m., clutching that hope like a lifeline. The thing about being a twin is that people expect you to be mirrors. Same face, same height, same laugh, same dreams. Sophia and I stopped being mirrors the day we turned 6, and I asked for a telescope for my birthday. She asked for a Barbie dream house. My parents got us both Barbies. "You'll grow out of the space thing," my mother said when I cried. "Girls don't become astronauts." I grew into the space thing. Sophia grew into the dream house. By middle school, the difference was undeniable. I joined the robotics club and the math team. Sophia joined cheerleading and student council. I spent weekends at science fairs. She spent them at football games. I read books about neural networks and machine learning. She read bridal magazines. Our parents loved her ease, her normalcy, the way she fit into the mold they'd imagined. I was the complication. Richard and Patricia Martinez raised us in a 3-bedroom house in a suburb outside Sacramento. My father worked in insurance sales until the company downsized when we were in high school. After that, he did freelance consulting that never quite materialized into steady income. My mother worked part-time as a receptionist at a dental office until she quit to focus on family when Sophia got engaged. Their financial priorities were always clear. When Sophia wanted to take a gap year after high school to find herself, they paid for her to backpack through Europe for 4 months. When I asked if I could attend a summer robotics program at Stanford, they said we couldn't afford it. The program cost $1,800. The Europe trip cost $7,000. When we both applied to colleges, they sat Sophia down at the kitchen table with a calculator and a checklist. They toured campuses with her. They debated dorm options and meal plans. They opened a college savings account I didn't know existed and handed her a debit card linked to it. When I applied to schools, I did it alone. I filled out applications in the library. I wrote essays on my phone during bus rides. I requested transcripts and mailed recommendation letter forms to teachers with self-addressed stamped envelopes because I couldn't afford the processing fees. I got into 6 schools, all out of state, all expensive. My parents sat me down and said, "Community college first, transfer later. It's the smart choice." Sophia went to the local community college because she wanted to stay close to Derek, her high school boyfriend. I went because I had no other option. The difference? They paid her tuition in full. $1,400 per semester. They didn't pay mine. "You're the smart one," my father said when I asked why. "You'll figure it out. Scholarships, grants. You're resourceful." I was 17. I figured it out. I applied for every scholarship I could find. I worked 30 hours a week at a Target near campus, stocking shelves and running registers until midnight. I lived at home to save money and commuted an hour each way on 2 buses. I slept 4 hours a night. By the end of my first year, I had a 4 gigapascals and $14,000 in student loans. Sophia had a 2.8 gigapascals and 0 debt. I transferred to a 4-year university for my junior year on a partial merit scholarship. It covered half of tuition. I covered the rest with loans, 2 part-time jobs, and a third gig tutoring international students in English for $25 an hour. I lived in the cheapest dorm on campus, cinder block walls, communal bathrooms, a radiator that clanked like a dying animal. My roommate graduated early, and they never assigned a replacement, so I had the shoebox size double to myself. I called it luck. Really, no one wanted to live there. I ate cereal for dinner most nights. I showered at the campus gym to save on the dorm's hot water fees. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving or spring break because I couldn't afford the bus ticket and I needed the quiet campus time to study. During winter break of my senior year, the dorms closed. I had nowhere to go. I couldn't afford a sublet, and going home meant 2 hours of commuting I didn't have time for during finals prep. So I stayed. I slept in the robotics lab on an air mattress I hid in a storage closet during the day. I used the building's bathroom. I lived off vending machine snacks and the free coffee in the engineering lounge. I studied 16 hours a day for the graduate entrance exams I'd need to apply to MIT. No one knew. Not my roommate, who'd gone home to her family's lake house. Not my professors. Not my parents, who never asked where I was spending the holidays. I got a 98th percentile score on the GRE. I got into MIT. I got a $45,000 scholarship. And my mother said, "That's nice, honey," before pivoting to wedding cake. Drama. Sophia wasn't cruel. She was oblivious. She didn't notice that I wore the same winter coat for 6 years while she got a new North Face puffer every season. She didn't notice that I never ordered more than water and a side salad when we went out to eat, while she got entree and dessert. She didn't notice that our parents paid her credit card bills and co-signed her car loan and gave her $200 just because on random Tuesdays. She didn't notice because she didn't have to. She was the easy daughter, the one who stayed close and got engaged young and wanted the life our parents understood. She made them feel successful. I was the one who left, the one who wanted too much, the one whose dreams were expensive and inconvenient and hard to brag about at church. "Sophia's getting married," my mother could say at book club, and people would smile and coo and ask about the dress. "Zoe's going to MIT for robotics engineering." Sounded like a humble brag. Complicated, intimidating. A conversation ender. So they didn't say it. Graduation was on May 18th, a Saturday. Ceremony at 10 a.m. I woke up at 6:30, too anxious to sleep. I ironed my white button-down and black slacks, the only professional clothes I owned. I pinned my honors cords around my neck, gold for summa cum laude, blue for engineering, silver for departmental honors. I zipped the green polyester gown over everything and adjusted the cap until it sat straight. I looked at myself in the mirror. I looked like someone who'd made it. I texted my parents at 8 a.m., "Leaving now. I'll save you seats. Can't wait to see you." My mother replied, running a bit behind. "Traffic. Be there soon." I got to the auditorium at 8:45 a.m. The place was already half full, families clustering in rows, kids in caps and gowns taking selfies, the buzz of excitement and nerves vibrating through the space like a living thing. I found my reserved seats, 3rd row, center, 6 chairs. I put my bag on one to mark them. I checked my phone. 9 a.m. No new texts. Other families filled in around me. A mother fixed her son's crooked tassel. A father held a bouquet of sunflowers the size of a toddler. A little girl waved a foam finger that said Grad 2024 inches glitter letters. I checked my phone. 9:15 a.m. The seats around me filled in, the row behind me, the row in front. My 6 seats stayed empty. 9:30 a.m. The ceremony was starting in 30 minutes. Graduates were lining up in the hallway outside. I called my mother. Straight to voicemail. I called my father. Voicemail. I texted, "Where are you?" 3 gray dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Stuck in traffic. Accident on the freeway. Start without us. Start without us. As if I could delay my own graduation. I walked to the hallway in a daze, found my place in line alphabetical by last name, Martinez, Zoe, between a guy named Andrew Larson and a girl named Priya Mehta. Andrew's family was already screaming his name from the audience. Priya's mom was crying in the third row, holding a sign that said, "That's my baby," in neon pink letters. My 6 seats were still empty. They arrived at 10:47 a.m. I was already on stage. I didn't see them walk in, but I heard my mother's voice carrying across the auditorium during the dean's speech. Something loud about parking, about how they'd had to circle the lot 4 times, about how the signage was terrible and whose idea was it to hold graduation on a Saturday during farmers' market hours. I scanned the crowd from my seat in the graduate section. There, third row. My 6 reserved seats. 4 were still empty. My parents sat in 2. My father scrolled through his phone. My mother dug through her purse, pulled out a compact, checked her lipstick. No flowers, no signs, no camera. They looked like people killing time at the DMV. The ceremony lasted 90 minutes. They called names alphabetically. When they got to the M's, I stood with my row and waited in the stage side queue. My hands were shaking. I told myself it didn't matter that they were late. They were here. That was enough. It had to be enough. Zoe Martinez, the dean said into the microphone. Summa cum laude. Bachelor of Science in Engineering. Recipient of the Innovators Fellowship Award. I walked across the stage, shook the dean's hand, took the diploma cover empty, the real one would come in the mail, and smiled for the photographer. I looked out at the audience. My father was checking his phone. My mother was whispering something to him, her hand covering her mouth. Neither of them looked up. I walked off stage and sat back down. The girl next to me, Priya, leaned over and whispered, "You killed it." I nodded because I couldn't speak. After the ceremony, families flooded the lawn outside the auditorium. Graduates in green gowns posed with parents and siblings and grandparents. Cameras clicked. People hugged. Someone popped a bottle of champagne, and everyone cheered. I found my parents near the parking lot. "There she is," my mother said, opening her arms for a hug that lasted exactly 3 seconds. "Congratulations, sweetie. We're so proud." My father patted my shoulder. "Good job, Z." That was it. No photos, no flowers, no "tell us everything" or "we're so proud" or "let's celebrate." "We were thinking we could grab a quick lunch," my mother said, already walking toward the car. "There's a Denny's on the way home. We've got to get back by 3. Sophia has her final dress fitting and I told her we'd be there." A quick lunch. Denny's. So they could get back for Sophia's dress fitting. "Sure," I said. What else could I say? The Denny's was off the highway, one of those identical beige buildings with 2 bright lighting and sticky menus. We sat in a booth near the kitchen. I still had my cap and gown on. My father suggested I take it off so it wouldn't get syrup on it. I ordered a water and a side of fruit. $3.99. My parents ordered entrees. My mother got the bourbon chicken skillet. My father got a patty melt and fries. Sophia's wedding binder sat on the table between the ketchup and the napkin dispenser. My mother opened it while we waited for food. "Look at this," she said, turning the binder toward me. The florist sent mock-ups of the centerpieces. "Aren't they gorgeous?" I looked. White roses, baby's breath, gold-rimmed vases. "They're nice," I said. "Nice? They're stunning. Each one is $140. We're doing 20 tables, so that's—" She paused, calculating $2,800 just for flowers. My father didn't flinch. He sipped his coffee. "The photographer confirmed the timeline too," my mother continued, flipping pages. "Ceremony at 5, cocktail hour at 6, reception at 7. We're doing a first look at 4 so we can get portraits done before the ceremony. Derek's family wants some photos with just their side, so we have to build that in." She kept talking. Dress bustles, cake toppers, seating charts, String quartet versus DJ for the ceremony. Sophia's bridesmaids' dresses blush pink. T-length, $220 each. I stared at the spreadsheet visible on one of the pages. Itemized costs, deposits, balances due. Venue, $18,000. Paid in full. Catering, $38,000. $8,000 deposit paid. Photographer, $4,500. Paid in full. Florals, $3,200. 2. $1,200 deposit paid. DJ, $1,850. $850 deposit paid. The total at the bottom of the page, highlighted in yellow, $120,000. My father's signature was on every line. The food came. I ate my fruit cup in silence while my mother narrated Sophia's bridal shower drama and the latest issue with the venue's sound system, and the debate over whether to do a candy bar or a dessert table. My father checked his stock portfolio on his phone. I thought, this is my graduation lunch. At 6:47 p.m., I checked the time later, compulsively. The way you check a bruise to see if it still hurts, my mother reached into her purse. "Oh," she said, as if she'd just remembered. "We got you a little something." She slid an envelope across the table. It was the size of a greeting card, drugstore bought. The front had a cartoon graduation cap and said, "Congrats, grad," in metallic letters. I opened it. A Visa gift card fell out, $25 printed on the front. Inside the card, my mother's looping handwriting. "Congrats on MIT, sweetie. Treat yourself. Love, Mom and Dad." $25. Not even a full tank of gas. "We know it's not much," my mother said, her voice artificially bright. "But with the wedding expenses, things are tight. You understand." I looked at the gift card, at the binder, at my father's signature on a check for $8,000. "Of course," I said. My voice sounded far away. "You understand weddings cost more than graduations," my mother said, loudly. The family at the booth behind us looked over. The mom made a face, like she felt sorry for me. I nodded. I slid the gift card into my wallet. We left 10 minutes later. My parents dropped me off at my apartment and drove away without getting out of the car. I sat on my bed, still wearing my cap and gown. I pulled out the gift card. I logged into the Visa website to check the balance. Card activated, the 17th of May 2024. The day before my graduation. Current balance, $23.76. I stared at the screen. Refreshed it. $23.76. They'd already used $1.24. I checked the transaction history. The 17th of May 2024, 3:42 p.m. Shell gas station. $1.24. They'd stopped for gas on the way home from activating my graduation gift card. And they'd used my gift card to pay for it. I sat there on my bed, still in my cap and gown, holding a $25 gift card that was really $23.76, and I tried to cry. Nothing came out. I just sat there, numb. 2 days later, my phone buzzed at 11:34 p.m. I was in bed, half asleep, scrolling through apartment listings in Boston. Studio apartments near MIT. $1,800 a month for 400 square feet. I'd need first month, last month, security deposit. $5,400 up front. I had $890 in my checking account. The notification banner slid down from the top of my screen. Credit Karma alert. New account opened in your name. I sat up. Read it again. New account opened in your name. I hadn't applied for anything. The last time I'd requested credit was 8 months ago, a student loan refinancing application that got denied because my credit score was too low and I had no cosigner. I tapped the notification. The app opened to my credit report dashboard. A red banner stretched across the top. Hard inquiry detected. The 18th of May 2024. May 18th. My graduation day. The details loaded. Capital One, C, credit card. Inquiry date. The 18th of May, 2024. Credit score impact. Negative 22 points. I stared at the screen. Capital One. I didn't have a Capital One card. I'd never applied for one. My credit score, already dismal at 634, had dropped to 612. My hands started shaking. I clicked through to the full report. There it was, listed under Accounts. Capital One Platinum MasterCard. Opened. The 18th of May 2024. Credit limit, $8,500. Balance, $0. Not yet reporting. Status, open. $8,500. Someone had opened a credit card in my name with an $8,500 limit. On my graduation day, I did what anyone would do. I panicked. I Googled, credit card opened without permission. The results were full of identity theft articles, stolen social security numbers, fraud rings, data breaches. Steps to take: freeze your credit, file a police report, contact the credit bureaus, dispute the account. My stomach turned. Identity theft. But who? I didn't know anyone who had my social security number, except... I stopped. My parents. No. No. That was insane. Parents didn't steal their kids' identities. That was a thing that happened to other people. People with criminal families. People with drug addict relatives who needed cash fast. Not people like me. Not parents who threw $120,000 weddings. I called Capital One's fraud hotline. The number was on their website, buried under 3 sub-menus. I waited on hold for 12 minutes, listening to a loop of jazzy hold music and automated reminders to check our website for faster service. Finally, a representative picked up. Capital One Fraud Department, this is Shanice. Can I have the last 4 digits of your social security number? I gave them. And your date of birth? I gave that too. Okay, Miss Martinez, how can I help you tonight? I got an alert that a credit card was opened in my name. I didn't apply for it. Keyboard clicking. A pause. I see the account here. Capital One Platinum MasterCard. Approved on May 18th. Credit limit $8,500. Is that correct? Yes, but I didn't apply for it. Do you have any joint account holders? Authorized users? Anyone with permission to use your information? No. More clicking. The application was submitted online on May 18th at 2:14 p.m. The mailing address on file is 482 Maple Grove Lane, Sacramento, California. Is that your address? My heart stopped. 482 Maple Grove Lane. That was my parents' house. No, I whispered. That's not my address. Okay, in that case, I'm going to flag this account for fraud investigation. You'll need to submit a formal dispute in writing and file a police report. We'll freeze the account immediately so no charges can be made. Wait, I said. Has anyone used the card yet? A pause. More clicking. The physical card was mailed to the address on file on May 20th. It hasn't been activated yet. But once it's activated, yes, charges can be made. Can you tell me who applied for it? Like, what name was on the application? The application name matches your credit file. Zoe Martinez. Date of birth matches. Social security number matches. Everything matches. Of course it did. They had everything they needed. I'll start the investigation, Shanice said. You should receive a letter in 7 to 10 business days with next steps. In the meantime, I'd recommend placing a fraud alert with the credit bureaus and checking your credit report for any other unfamiliar accounts. Other accounts. The thought hadn't even occurred to me. Thank you, I said, and hung up. I sat there in bed, phone clutched in both hands, mind racing. 482 Maple Grove Lane. My parents' address. The card was mailed there, which meant they'd applied for it, which meant they had my social security number, my date of birth, my information, which meant no. There had to be another explanation. Maybe someone hacked their internet. Maybe there was a data breach. Maybe someone stole mail from their mailbox and got my information somehow. I wanted to call them. I pulled up my mom's contact. My thumb hovered over the call button. It was 12:18 a.m. If I called now, she'd be furious. She'd think I was overreacting. She'd have an explanation. She always had an explanation. I texted instead. Me. Did you apply for a credit card in my name? I watched the screen. Delivered. No response. I tried my dad. Me. I got an alert that a Capital One card was opened in my name. Mailed to your house. Do you know anything about this? Delivered. No response. I sat there for 20 minutes, staring at my phone, waiting for the 3 gray dots. Nothing. I tried calling my mom. Straight to voicemail. My dad. Voicemail. They'd turned their phones off. Or they were asleep. Or they were avoiding me. I opened Credit Karma again and pulled my full credit report, all 3 bureaus: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. I started scrolling. I didn't sleep. By 6 a.m., I'd been through every line of my credit report 4 times, checking and rechecking account names, dates, balances. The Capital One card was there on all 3 reports. But everything else looked normal. My student loans. My one existing credit card, a Discover card I'd opened sophomore year with a $500 limit that I used for gas and paid off every month. Nothing else was new. I thought maybe I'd overreacted. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone at Capital One mixed up files. Or there was a computer error. Or my information got crossed with someone else's. But the mailing address, 482 Maple Grove Lane. That wasn't a mistake. At 8:47 a.m., I got in my car, a 2006 Honda Civic I'd bought off Craigslist for $2,400 3 years ago, and drove to my parents' house. I didn't call first. I didn't text. I just drove. The house looked the same as always. Beige stucco. Terracotta roof tiles. A garden gnome next to the mailbox that my mom thought was charming and my dad thought was tacky. Sophia's car, the Toyota Corolla, was in the driveway. My parents' sedan wasn't. Good. I parked on the street and walked up to the front door. Tried my old key. It still worked. Inside, the house smelled like coffee and vanilla candles. Sophia was in the kitchen in pajama pants and an oversized MIT sweatshirt. My MIT sweatshirt. The one I'd gotten at Admitted Students Weekend and left here over spring break. She looked up, surprised. Z, what are you doing here? Are Mom and Dad home? No. They went to some vendor meeting for the wedding, tasting menus or something. They'll be back around noon. She poured herself coffee. You okay? You look. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. I walked past her into the entryway. The mail sat in a pile on the console table like it always did. My mom's system was to let it accumulate for a week, and then sort it all at once while watching reality TV. I started flipping through envelopes. Junk mail. A Bed Bath & Beyond coupon. A water bill. A Costco ad. And then, an envelope addressed to Zoe Martinez. My name. This address. I picked it up. The return address, Capital One P.O., Box 30285, Salt Lake City, UT. Zoe? Sophia was watching me from the kitchen doorway. What are you doing? I didn't answer. I opened the envelope. Inside, a credit card statement. Capital One Platinum MasterCard. Account holder, Zoe Martinez. Statement period, April 18, the 17th of May 2024. My eyes went to the balance. Previous balance, $6,102.34. New charges, $2,310. Total balance, $8,000. I read the charges. April 22. Blossom and Vine Florist, $2,100. April 29. Starlight DJ Services, $1,850. May 3. Bella's Bridal Boutique, $650 alteration. May 10. May 15. Party Rental Depot, $612.34. Every single charge was a wedding vendor. Sophia's wedding. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the paper. Zoe? Sophia's voice, closer now. What's wrong? I looked up at her. She was holding her coffee mug, her face open and concerned, wearing my sweatshirt, living in this house rent-free, while planning a wedding that cost more than I'd earn in 2 years. Did you know about this? I held up the statement. She squinted. Know about what? I walked over and shoved the paper into her hands. She read it. Her face went pale. What is this? A credit card statement. In my name, with $8,000 charged to it. For your wedding. What? Look at the charges, Sophia. Your florist, your DJ, your dress alterations, your caterer. She stared at the paper. Her mouth opened. Closed. I didn't, Zoe. I didn't know about this. I swear. Where did Mom and Dad get the money for your wedding? They said they'd been saving. Dad said he had a consulting gig that paid well. He hasn't had a consulting gig in 2 years. Sophia's hands were shaking now, too. I don't understand. Are you saying they used your credit card? I'm saying they opened a credit card in my name and used it to pay for your wedding. The words hung in the air. Sophia sat down on the couch, still holding the statement. That's impossible. That's illegal. That's fraud. I know. Zoe, there has to be a mistake. The mailing address is here. The card was sent here. The statement is here. I walked back to the mail pile and started rifling through again. More frantically now. 2 envelopes down, another one. Zoe Martinez. This one from Bank of America. I ripped it open. Bank of America Cash Rewards MasterCard. Account holder, Zoe Martinez. Statement period. April 10, the 9th of May 2024. Total balance, $4,890.22. More charges. April 12. Picture perfect photography, $2,250. April 18. Sweet Moments Bakery, $890. Cake deposit. April 25. Lakeside Country Club, $1,750.22. Venue balance. I couldn't breathe. Sophia was standing now, looking over my shoulder. Oh my God. I kept digging. A third envelope, Chase Freedom Visa. Total balance, $6,200.18. A fourth, Discover It card. Total balance, $2,180.50. 4 credit cards. All in my name. All sent to this address. All maxed out paying for Sophia's wedding. I did the math in my head. $8,412.34 plus $4,890.22 plus $6,200.18 plus $2,180.50, $21,683.24. $21,000. I sat down on the floor. Just dropped, legs folding under me, credit card statements scattered around me like evidence at a crime scene. Sophia was crying. Zoe, I didn't know. I swear to God I didn't know. I believed her. She wasn't smart enough to hide this. She wasn't cruel enough to go along with it knowingly. She was just oblivious. The same way she'd been oblivious to every other disparity between us our entire lives. "I need to take these," I said. My voice sounded hollow. "Take them. Take whatever you need." She was sobbing now, mascara running. "Zoe, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. You have to believe me." "I believe you." I gathered the statements. 4 envelopes, 4 cards, 4 crimes. I stood up and walked to the door. "What are you going to do?" Sophia asked. I didn't answer. I didn't know yet. I sat in my car outside their house for 20 minutes, photographing every page of every statement with my phone, front and back, every charge, every date, every vendor name. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I kept thinking, this has to be a mistake. But it wasn't. The dates lined up. The vendors lined up. The timeline lined up. The first card Bank of America had been opened 11 months ago, January of my junior year. 2 weeks after Sophia got engaged. They'd been planning this for almost a year. I didn't go back to my apartment. I drove to the nearest coffee shop, a Starbucks off Highway 50, and sat in the corner with my laptop, 4 credit card statements, and a notebook I kept in my car for study sessions. I needed to see it, all of it, mapped out. I opened Excel and started building a spreadsheet. Column A, date. Column B, credit card. Column C, vendor. Column D, amount. Column E, wedding category. I entered every charge from every statement. It took an hour. When I was done, I had 47 line items totaling $21,683.24. I sorted by date. The oldest charge, the 14th of January 2023. Bank of America card. $1,200 to Bliss Events Planning. Sophia's engagement party. I remembered that party. Held at a winery an hour outside Sacramento. 75 guests. Catered appetizers. An open bar. String lights and a live acoustic guitarist. I remembered my mom gushing about it. We wanted to do something special. Sophia only gets engaged once. I remembered not being able to afford the gas to drive there, so I'd carpooled with my cousin Isabella. That party was paid for with a credit card opened in my name. I kept scrolling. The 9th of February 2023. Chase card opened. First charge, $850 to invitations galore. Save the dates. The 3rd of March 2023. Discover card opened. First charge, $620 to Bella's Bridal Boutique. Sophia's first dress appointment. The 18th of May 2024, Capital One card opened. My graduation day. I created a second sheet, a timeline. On the left, I listed every major wedding milestone I could remember. Engagement, the 1st of January 2023. Engagement party, the 14th of January 2023. Save the dates mailed. February 2023. Dress shopping begins. March 2023. Venue booked. April 2023. Bridal shower. November 2023. Bachelorette party. March 2024. Final dress fitting. May 2024. Wedding date. The 29th of June, 2024. On the right, I listed the credit card openings and major charges. Every single wedding milestone had a corresponding fraudulent charge. Every single one. I pulled up my own calendar on my phone and cross-referenced the dates. The 14th of January 2023, engagement party, $1,200 charge. I was in the middle of midterms. 3 exams in 4 days. I'd barely slept. The 9th of February 2023, Chase card opened. Finals week. I'd worked a double shift at the library the day before to cover rent. The 3rd of March 2023, Discover card opened. Spring break. I'd stayed on campus to work, I'd emailed my parents asking if they could help with my summer housing deposit. They'd said no. The 18th of May 2024 Capital One card opened. My graduation day. They'd timed it perfectly. Every card was opened during my busiest, most stressful weeks. Weeks when I was least likely to check my credit. Least likely to notice. Weeks when I was drowning. I opened a new document and started typing. Evidence. Identity theft by Richard and Patricia Martinez. Victim. Zoe Martinez. Daughter. Timeline. January 2023. First fraudulent account opened. Bank of America, 2 weeks after Sophia's engagement. February 2023. Second account opened. Chase. March 2023. Third account opened. Discover. May 2024. Fourth account opened. Capital One on victim's graduation day. Total fraudulent debt. $21,683.24. Method. Parents had access to victim's social security number requested under guise of insurance updates per text records. Parents had access to victim's date of birth and personal information. Mail forwarding. All credit card statements sent to parents' address, 482 Maple Grove Lane. Victim never received statements, never knew accounts existed. All charges were for Sophia Martinez's wedding expenses. Motive. Fund daughter Sophia's $120,000 wedding using victim daughter Zoe's credit. I stared at the screen. There it was. In black and white. My parents had committed identity theft. Premeditated, calculated, sustained over 18 months. They'd stolen my social security number, forged my signature, opened 4 credit cards, racked up over $21,000 in debt. And they'd done it while I was working 25 hours a week and eating ramen for dinner and sleeping in a lab over winter break because I couldn't afford to go home. They'd done it while I was earning a 4 and publishing research and winning scholarships. They'd done it while handing me a $25 gift card at Denny's and telling me to treat myself. I thought about the times my mom had asked for my social security number. Just need it for the insurance, she'd said last March. Updating the policy. I'd texted it to her, didn't think twice. I thought about the time my dad asked about my credit score. Just curious, he'd said. You're applying to grad schools, right? Wanted to make sure you're in good shape. I'd told him, 680 at the time. He'd nodded, said, that's solid. He'd been checking to see how much credit they could get in my name. I thought about every time I'd asked for help. Can you co-sign a loan? We can't, honey. Our credit isn't great right now. Can you help with my housing deposit? It's a tight month. We'll try next time. Can I borrow $200 for textbooks? We just don't have it, Z. You understand. They didn't have it. Because they were spending it on Sophia. On my credit. In my name. My phone buzzed. A text from my mom. Where are you? Sophia said you were here this morning and took some mail. What's going on? I stared at the message. Typed. We need to talk. Deleted it. Typed. I know what you did. Deleted it. I didn't send anything. I saved my spreadsheet, saved my evidence document, took screenshots of everything. Then I called the only person I trusted. Jade picked up on the second ring. Z, what's wrong? I need you, I said. My voice cracked. I'm coming, she said. Where are you? I told her. She was there in 15 minutes. Jade found me in the corner of the Starbucks, surrounded by papers and empty coffee cups. My laptop screen glowing with spreadsheets that looked like evidence from a crime documentary. She took one look at me and knew. Jesus, Z. She sat down across from me without asking, moved the credit card statements so she could see my face. I tried to speak. Nothing came out. She reached across the table and took my hand. Tell me. So I did. I told her everything. The credit alert at 11:34 p.m., the Capital One card with my name on it and their address, the drive to my parents' house, the mail pile, The four statements, the $21,683 in charges, every single one a wedding expense for Sophia. The timeline I'd built showing they'd planned this for 18 months. The realization that every time I'd asked for help, they'd said no while spending thousands of dollars in my name. By the time I finished, I was crying. Not the pretty kind, the ugly kind. The kind where your face gets blotchy and your nose runs and you can't catch your breath. Jade handed me napkins from the dispenser, waited. When I could breathe again, she said, "Zoe, this isn't just wrong. I know." "No. Listen to me." Her voice was steady, calm. The voice she used when she was dead serious. "This isn't just wrong. This is illegal. This is fraud. This is identity theft. This is a federal crime." I nodded. I knew. Somewhere in my brain, I knew. But hearing her say it out loud made it real. "Your parents stole from you," Jade continued. "They didn't borrow. They didn't ask. They stole your identity and destroyed your credit to pay for a party. It wasn't just a party. It was Sophia's wedding. I don't care if it was the coronation of the Queen of England. They committed fraud." I laughed. It came out bitter and sharp. Jade squeezed my hand. "How much?" $21,683.24. Jesus Christ. They opened the first card the month Sophia got engaged, the last one on my graduation day. Jade's jaw tightened. "Your graduation day." While I was on stage, they filled out the application while I was walking across the stage. "Zoe," she leaned forward, "you need to call the police." My stomach dropped. "I can't." "Yes, you can. They're my parents. They're criminals." The word hung between us. Criminals. My parents. Richard and Patricia Martinez. The people who raised me, who taught me to ride a bike and took me to church on Sundays and made me pancakes shaped like Mickey Mouse when I was 6. Criminals. "I can't send my parents to jail," I whispered. "You're not sending them anywhere. They sent themselves." Jade pulled out her phone. "My girlfriend's brother is a lawyer. Marcus. He does family law stuff. Let me text him." "Jade." "I'm texting him." Her fingers flew across the screen. "You need legal advice. Real advice. From someone who knows what the hell they're talking about." She hit send. 3 dots appeared immediately. Jade read the response. "He says he can meet tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. His office is downtown. I don't have money for a lawyer. He does free consultations." "And Zoe?" She looked at me. "Even if he didn't, I'd pay for it. You're not doing this alone." My throat closed up. Jade kept talking. "Tonight, you're staying at my place. We're going to order Thai food, and you're going to eat actual food for the first time in 3 days, and then you're going to sleep. Tomorrow, we figure out what to do. I can't just—" "You can. You will." She started packing up my papers, organizing them into a neat stack. "Do you have copies of these?" "Photos on my phone." "Good, we're taking the originals. Anything else at your parents' house you need?" I thought about it. "No, I don't think so." "Okay, let's go." We ordered pad thai and green curry from the place near Jade's apartment. I ate half a container and felt like I might throw up. Jade didn't push. She just wrapped the leftovers and put them in the fridge. At 2:47 a.m., I knocked on her bedroom door. She opened it immediately. Hadn't been asleep. "Can't sleep?" she asked. I shook my head. She pulled me into her room. We sat on her bed, backs against the wall, lights off, city glow filtering through the blinds. "Tell me what you're thinking," she said. "I keep trying to figure out when they decided to do it. Like, was there a moment? A conversation? Did they sit down one day and say, 'Let's steal from Zoe'?" Jade was quiet. "Or was it gradual? Like, first they just borrowed my information for something small. Then it got easier. Then they opened one card. Then another. Like, how do you go from being someone's parent to being someone who steals from them?" "I don't know, Z." Sophia didn't know. I believe that. She wasn't part of it. I believe that too. But they did it anyway. For her. They destroyed my credit for her wedding. Not for her. For themselves. Jade turned to look at me. They did it because they wanted to look like the perfect parents throwing the perfect wedding. They did it because they care more about appearances than they care about you. The words stung because they were true. My whole life, I said slowly, I told myself it wasn't favoritism. Just different. Sophia needed different things. She was different. That's what they said. That's what they wanted you to believe. I worked so hard. I thought if I just achieved enough, if I was successful enough, if I made them proud enough, they'd see me. They saw you, Zoe. They just didn't care. I started crying again. Jade put her arm around me, didn't say anything, just held me while I cried for the family I thought I had, and the parents I'd never actually known. At 5 a.m., Jade made coffee. We sat at her kitchen table and went through the evidence again. Every statement, every charge, every date. You need to write down everything you remember, Jade said. Every time they asked for your information. Every time you asked them for help and they said no. Every time they chose Sophia. That's going to be a long list. Good, write it anyway. So I did. I opened a new document on my laptop and started typing. Pattern of favoritism and financial abuse. Age 15. Sophia's quinceañera at event center. $12,000, plus my backyard BBQ. Age 18. Sophia, given new car versus me given bus pass. College. Sophia's tuition paid versus me taking $89,000 in loans. March 2023. Mom asks for my SSN for insurance purposes via text. June 2023. I ask for help with summer housing deposit. $400. Denied. November 2023. Watch parents write $8,000 check for Sophia's catering deposit. May 2024. Graduation gift $25 versus wedding expenses $120,000 plus. The list went on and on. By the time Jade said we needed to leave for the lawyer's office, I had 3 pages. Marcus Chen's office was on the 3rd floor of a building downtown that smelled like burnt coffee and cleaning solution. The waiting room had 6 plastic chairs, a dying ficus plant, and a receptionist who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Zoe Martinez, she called at 9:03 a.m. Jade squeezed my hand. You got this. Marcus was younger than I expected, maybe 35. Wire-rimmed glasses, a tie that was slightly crooked, kind eyes. He shook my hand. Thanks for coming in. Jade says you're dealing with some family stuff. That's one way to put it. We sat. I handed him the folder Jade had helped me organize last night. The 4 credit card statements, my timeline spreadsheet, my list of incidents, photos of the wedding binder I'd taken at that Denny's dinner. He read in silence for 10 minutes. When he looked up, his expression had changed. Miss Martinez, he said carefully, this is textbook identity theft under federal law, 18 U.S. C. Section 1028. Your parents committed fraud. Hearing a lawyer say it was different than hearing Jade say it. It made it real in a way that felt like the floor dropping out. What are my options? I asked. Marcus leaned back in his chair. You have 3 main routes. Each has different implications. No? He pulled out a legal pad and started drawing a diagram. Option 1. Criminal route. You file a police report and press charges. The district attorney's office reviews the case. If they prosecute, your parents could face felony charges. Identity theft carries 2 to 5 years in federal prison and up to a $250,000 fine. My stomach turned. Option 2. Civil route. You sue them for damages, restitution for the debt, plus emotional distress, plus legal fees. This takes longer, 12 to 18 months for trial. but you'd likely win, given the documentation. How much would that cost? Filing fees are around $435. If you need a lawyer for trial, that's additional. Some attorneys work on contingency, they take a percentage of the settlement. What's option 3? Credit dispute route. You dispute all the charges with the credit bureaus as fraud. The accounts get flagged, investigated, and ideally removed from your credit report. This is the fastest way to fix your credit. That sounds better. There's a catch. Marcus looked at me over his glasses. To dispute the charges as fraud with the credit bureaus, you need to file a police report stating that a family member committed identity theft. The bureaus won't remove the accounts without that official documentation. So I have to file a police report no matter what. If you want your credit fixed, yes. I sat with that. What happens after I file the report? I asked. The police investigate. With documentation like this, he tapped the folder, it's open and shut. They'll likely contact your parents, interview them, and present findings to the DA. The DA decides whether to prosecute. Can I file a report but ask them not to prosecute? You can request that. But ultimately, it's the DA's decision. In cases with clear evidence and significant dollar amounts, they usually prosecute. Financial crimes against family members are taken seriously. Marcus flipped to a new page. Here's what I need you to understand, Zoe. This isn't a family disagreement. This is a serious crime. Your parents used your social security number without consent, opened multiple lines of credit, forged your signature, and committed mail fraud by intercepting your statements. Mail fraud? They forwarded your mail to their address without your knowledge. That's federal mail fraud. Jesus. There's also the Mandatory Victims Restitution Act, MVRA. If your parents are convicted, the court has to order them to pay back every dollar, plus interest. That's not optional. I looked down at my hands. What if I just want them to pay the debt and leave me alone? Without legal pressure, that rarely happens, and in the meantime, your credit is destroyed. You can't rent an apartment, you can't get a loan, you can't even get approved for a cell phone plan. These debts are reporting on your credit file right now. He pulled up something on his computer. Turned the screen toward me. This is what a typical credit report looks like after identity theft. See these accounts and collections? Those tank your score by 150 points. That stays there for 7 years unless you dispute it. 7 years. I'd be 30 before my credit recovered. If I file the police report, I said slowly, and dispute the charges, how long until my credit is fixed? With documentation this solid, 6 months to a year, the credit bureaus have to investigate, verify the fraud, and remove the accounts. It's a process, but it works. And if I do nothing? You're liable for the debt, your credit stays destroyed, and your parents face no consequences. Marcus printed out a checklist for me. Steps to take. File police report. Bring all documentation. Contact all 3 credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, and place fraud alerts. Dispute each fraudulent account in writing. Contact each credit card company's fraud department. Consider filing FTC identity theft report, federal documentation. Keep copies of everything. Follow up every 30 days. This is going to take time, Marcus said, and emotional energy. Do you have support? I looked at Jade, sitting in the chair next to me. Yeah, I said, I do. Good. You're going to need it. He handed me his card. If you decide to pursue civil action later, call me. First consultation is free. After that, we can talk payment plans or contingency. I stood up, shook his hand. Thank you. One more thing, Zoe. He looked at me seriously. I've seen cases like this before, family financial abuse, and I want you to hear this. Going to the police doesn't make you a bad daughter. It makes you someone who refuses to be victimized. What they did was wrong. You have every right to seek justice. I nodded. I didn't believe him yet. But I wanted to. I filed the police report on Tuesday. The Sacramento Police Department's fraud division was in a squat gray building that looked like a DMV and smelled like burnt microwave popcorn. I sat in a waiting room for 45 minutes before a detective called my name. Officer Marcus Reyes, late 30s, tired eyes, a coffee mug that said World's Okayest Detective. He led me to a small interview room with a table, 2 chairs, and a camera mounted in the corner. "This is just for documentation," he said, gesturing to the camera. "Standard procedure for financial crimes. You okay with that?" "Yeah." He opened a notebook. So I did. I handed him the folder, now thicker, organized with tabs for each credit card, a printed timeline, a written statement I'd prepared with Jade's help. He read for a long time. Finally, he looked up. "This is one of the clearer cases I've seen. Usually family fraud is murky," he said, she said. "No documentation. But this?" He tapped the folder. "This is airtight. What happens now? I assign you a case number. File the report officially. Send the evidence to our fraud investigation unit. They'll verify the accounts, contact the credit card companies, probably interview your parents. Will they arrest them? Depends. If your parents cooperate, admit to it, probably not immediately. If they deny it or refuse to talk, then yeah, we might bring them in for questioning. But with this level of documentation, I'd expect the DA to file charges within a month." He typed something into his computer. "Your case number is 20240815547. Write that down. You'll need it for the credit bureaus and the card companies." I wrote it on the back of Marcus Chen's business card. "How many counts?" I asked. Officer Reyes flipped through the statements. 4 counts of identity theft, 1 for each card. 1 count of fraud, 1 count of mail fraud because of the forwarding. All felonies. What's the sentence? Identity theft is 2 to 5 years per count, depending on the dollar amount and criminal history. Mail fraud is federal up to 20 years, but realistically, with a plea deal, your parents are looking at probation, restitution, and community service. They won't go to prison? First-time offenders? White-collar crime? No violent history? Probably not. But they'll have felony records, and they'll owe you every cent, plus interest, plus legal fees. I didn't know how to feel about that. "One more thing," Officer Reyes said. "Do you want a restraining order?" "What?" "A no-contact order. Legally prevents them from reaching out to you while the case is ongoing. Keeps things clean." I thought about my phone, the unanswered texts from my mom, the missed calls from my dad. "Yes," I said. "I do." Day 2. Credit bureaus. I called all 3. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. Each call took 45 minutes and followed the same script. Verify identity SSN, address, date of birth, mother's maiden name. Explain situation. Identity theft by family member. Provide case number 2, 024081547. Request fraud alert flags, credit report for 90 days. Request security freeze, prevents new accounts from being opened. The fraud alerts were free. The disputes would take 30 days to investigate. I did it all from Jade's apartment while she worked from home at the kitchen table, occasionally looking over to make sure I was okay. I wasn't okay, but I was surviving. Day 3. Credit card companies. I called Capital One first. This time I knew what to say. "I'm calling to report fraudulent charges. I've filed a police report. Case number 2, 0240815547. I need to formally dispute all charges on this account." The representative, a different person than Shanice, someone named David with a Texas accent, walked me through the process. "We'll close the account immediately. Flag it as fraud. You won't be liable for any charges. We'll send you an affidavit to sign and return. Do you know who opened the account?" "My parents." A pause. "I'm sorry to hear that, ma'am." "Me too." I called Bank of America, Chase, Discover. Same script, same affidavits, same apologies from strangers who had no idea what this felt like. By the end of the day, All 4 accounts were frozen. The debt still existed, $21,683.24 sitting in limbo, but I wasn't liable for it anymore. Not legally. Day 4. Evidence expansion. Jade helped me go through my phone and export text messages. There were dozens. I screenshots them all. March 2023. Mom, hey sweetie, can you confirm your social security number for me? Updating insurance policy and the company needs it. My response? SSN redacted. Mom, thanks honey. June 2023. Me to Dad. Hey, can you help with summer housing deposit? $400. I can pay you back in August. Dad, sorry Z, money's tight this month. Maybe next time. November 2023. Mom and family group chat. Just put down the catering deposit for Sophia's wedding. $8,000, but so worth it. I saved every single one to a Google Drive folder labeled Evidence. Jade suggested I write down everything I could remember that wasn't in texts. So I started a document. Verbal interactions. Dad asking about my credit score, March 2024. Just curious, you applying to grad schools? Want to make sure you're in good shape. Mom commenting on my financial responsibility, April 2024. You're so good with money, Zoe. We never have to worry about you. Dad at Denny's, the 18th of May 2024. We know you understand. Weddings are expensive. I wrote for 3 hours. By the end, I had 6 pages. Day 5. Witness statement. Jade suggested I reach out to Aunt Rosa. She's always been on your side, Jade said. And she was at that Denny's dinner. She saw what they did. I texted Aunt Rosa. Can we talk? It's important. She called immediately. Mija, what's wrong? Your mother's been calling me nonstop saying you're spreading lies. What's going on? I told her. Everything. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then, those pendejos. I laughed. Couldn't help it. I'm writing a witness statement for the police, she said. I overheard your mother on the phone in March saying, Zoe won't notice. I thought she was talking about borrowing something, not stealing your identity. You'll really do that? Mija, I'm ashamed I didn't say something sooner. Of course I'll do it. She emailed me the statement that night. 2 pages, detailed, damning. I forwarded it to Officer Reyes. By the end of the week, I had police report, case number 2-02-40-81547. 4 disputed credit accounts. Fraud alerts on all 3 credit bureaus. Evidence binder, 3-ring, tabbed, organized. Timeline spreadsheet. Text message screenshots. Witness statement from Aunt Rosa. Formal statements to each credit card company. I had everything. Everything except the ability to unsee what my parents had done. On Saturday morning, exactly 1 week after I'd discovered the first statement, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Miss Martinez? This is Detective Linda Kowalski, Sacramento PD. I've been assigned to your case. I reviewed Officer Reyes' report and the evidence you provided. I need to ask you a few follow-up questions, and then I'll be contacting your parents for an interview. My heart pounded. Okay. Just to confirm, you're alleging that Richard and Patricia Martinez opened 4 credit card accounts using your personal information without your knowledge or consent, and used those accounts to make purchases totaling approximately $21,000. Is that correct? Yes. And you have documentation showing that the accounts were sent to their address, that they had access to your social security number, and that the charges correspond to expenses related to your sister's wedding? Yes. It's all in the folder. I've seen it. It's very thorough. A pause. Miss Martinez, I have to tell you, this is going to move quickly. The evidence is overwhelming. I'll be reaching out to your parents early next week. They'll be asked to come in for questioning. If they admit to opening the accounts, we'll move forward with charges. If they deny it, we'll subpoena records from the credit card companies. Either way, this case is likely headed to the DA's office within the month. Okay. One more thing. Do you have any concerns for your safety? Any reason to believe your parents might retaliate or try to contact you? I thought about the restraining order. I don't think they'd hurt me, I said, but I don't want them contacting me. The no contact order will be served along with the interview notice. If they violate it, call 911 immediately. Okay. You did the right thing, Miss Martinez. Everyone kept saying that. I wished I believed it. Sophia's wedding was in 6 weeks. I knew because the invitation sat on my desk at Jade's apartment, thick cardstock, gold foil lettering, tissue paper insert. It had arrived 3 weeks ago, before everything imploded. Sophia Martinez and Derek Chen. Request the honor of your presence. Saturday, June 29th, 2024. 5 o'clock in the evening. Lakeside Country Club. I picked it up and stared at it for the 100th time. Jade walked into the room, saw what I was holding, and stopped. You're not seriously thinking about going. I don't know. Zoe. She's still my sister. She's the reason they stole from you. She didn't know. Doesn't matter. Jade sat down next to me. They used your credit to throw her a party. You going to that party is exactly why I should go. Jade stared at me. What? I set the invitation down. 200 people are going to be at that wedding. Family, friends, my parents' entire social circle. So? So they get to stand there and smile and pretend they're perfect parents throwing a perfect wedding, and no one knows the truth. The police know. The police aren't going to be there. Understanding dawned on Jade's face. Oh my God, you want to tell them. I want everyone to know. At Sophia's wedding. Yes. Zoe, that's... She stopped. Thought about it. That's actually kind of brilliant. It's the only time they'll all be in one place. The only time my parents can't run, can't avoid it, can't make excuses in private. They'll be served the no contact order before then. They'll know you filed the report. Good. Let them know. Let them sit with it for 6 weeks. Let them sweat. Jade leaned back. You're really going to do this? It wasn't a question. I need to, I said. For me. I spent the next 2 weeks preparing. First, I finalized the evidence packet. I printed everything. All 4 credit card statements, color copies, highlighted charges, timeline spreadsheet, visual, easy to read. Police report summary, case number, charges, suspect names. Text message screenshots. Mom asking for SSN. Photos of the wedding binder from Denny's showing the $120,000 budget. 30 pages total. I put them in a manila folder with a label, Evidence of Identity Theft. Then I wrote the speech. I sat at Jade's kitchen table with my laptop and a cup of coffee and started typing. Wedding speech. Draft 1. Good evening. For those who don't know me, I'm Zoe Sophia's twin sister. I want to talk about family tonight. About love. About what it means to support the people you care about. My parents taught me that actions speak louder than words. So, let me tell you what they did. I wrote for 3 hours. Revised for 2 more. By the time I finished, I had a 3-minute speech that laid out everything: the timeline, the dollar amounts, the charges, the wedding vendors in clear, undeniable detail. I read it aloud to Jade. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then, that's gonna destroy them. I know. You're okay with that? I thought about the $23.76 gift card. The empty seats at my graduation. The 18 months of planning and stealing while I worked and struggled and believed they loved me. Yeah, I said. I'm okay with it. Detective Kowalski called on a Wednesday. Miss Martinez, I wanted to update you. We interviewed your parents yesterday. My heart stopped. And? Your father admitted to opening the accounts, said it was a loan, that they planned to pay you back, that it was a misunderstanding. A misunderstanding. That's what he said. Your mother corroborated. But their story falls apart under scrutiny. No signed loan agreement. No payment plan. Mail forwarding without your consent. The DA's office reviewed the case this morning. They're filing charges. What charges? 4 counts identity theft, 1 count fraud, 1 count mail fraud. Your parents will be arraigned in 3 weeks. They'll likely take a plea deal. 3 weeks. 1 week after Sophia's wedding. The no-contact order has been served, Detective Kowalski continued. They're legally prohibited from reaching out to you. If they do, document it and call us immediately. Okay. One more thing. The DA wants to know if you're willing to provide a victim impact statement. What's that? A statement you read in court explaining how the crime affected you. It's optional, but it can influence sentencing. I thought about standing in a courtroom, reading my pain aloud while my parents sat at a defendant's table. I'll do it, I said. Jade offered to come to the wedding as my +1. So did Marcus, the lawyer, not the detective. Safety in numbers, Jade said. And witnesses. If your parents violate the no-contact order, we'll see it. I said yes. Aunt Rosa called the day before the wedding. Mija, I heard what you're planning. From who? Sophia. She's terrified you're going to cause a scene. I'm going to tell the truth. Good. Aunt Rosa's voice was firm. I'll be sitting front row. If anyone tries to stop you, they'll have to go through me first. Thank you, Tia. Your parents deserve this, and more. On Friday night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in Jade's guest bed, staring at the ceiling, running through the speech in my head, imagining my mother's face, my father's, Sophia's, 200 guests watching. I felt sick. I felt powerful. I felt like I was about to jump off a cliff, and I had no idea if there was water at the bottom or rocks. At 3 a.m., I got up and read the speech one more time, changed 2 words, printed it on note cards, went back to bed, didn't sleep. Saturday, June 29th. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. to sunlight streaming through the blinds and my stomach in knots. Jade was already awake, making coffee in the kitchen. Big day, she said when I walked in. Yeah. She handed me a mug. How are you feeling? Like I might throw up. That's normal. Is it? You're about to publicly expose your parents for fraud at your sister's wedding. I'd be worried if you weren't nauseous. I laughed. It sounded hollow. My phone buzzed. A text from Sophia. Please don't do this. I stared at it. Typed. I have to. Deleted it. Typed. I'm sorry. Deleted that too. I didn't respond. At 10:15 a.m., my mother texted me. Mom, can't wait to see you tonight. Wear something nice for photos. She didn't know I knew about the no-contact order. Or maybe she did and thought I wouldn't enforce it. I screenshot the message and forwarded it to Detective Kowalski with a note. No contact order violation. She replied immediately. Documented. Thank you. At 11:40 a.m., my father texted. Dad, big day for your sister. Family means everything. I screenshot that one too. Sent it to the detective. Blocked both their numbers. I spent the afternoon getting ready. Jade helped me pick an outfit. A black cocktail dress I'd bought on clearance 2 years ago. Simple, elegant, appropriate for a wedding. Appropriate for a funeral. You look beautiful, Jade said. I look like I'm going to war. Same thing. Marcus arrived at 4:30 p.m. to drive us. He was wearing a suit. Jade wore a navy blue dress. We looked like we were attending a very serious business meeting. Which, in a way, we were. You have the evidence? Marcus asked. I held up the manila folder. Speech? I tapped my purse. Note cards inside. Okay, ground rules. We stay together. If security tries to remove you, I intervene. If your parents approach you, I document it. If anything goes sideways, we leave. Nothing's going to go sideways. Marcus looked at me. Zoe, you're about to accuse your parents of felony fraud in front of 200 people. Everything is going to go sideways. Fair point. Lakeside Country Club was exactly what it sounded like. Sprawling white building, manicured lawns, a lake glittering in the late afternoon sun, valet parking, string quartet playing Pachelbel's canon on the front steps. I felt like I was walking into a movie. The wrong kind. We checked in at the guest book table. The coordinator, a woman in her 50s with a headset and a clipboard, smiled brightly. Names? Zoe Martinez, +2. She scanned the list. Found my name. Handed us programs and small bags of birdseed tied with ribbon. Ceremony is on the west lawn, reception in the grand ballroom. Cocktail hour starts at 6. Congratulations to the family, I smiled. Didn't correct her. The ceremony was outdoors. 200 white chairs arranged in rows, an arch covered in roses and hydrangeas, the lake as a backdrop. It was beautiful. It probably cost $15,000. I wondered which credit card paid for it. We sat in the back row. Jade on my left, Marcus on my right. Aunt Rosa was 3 rows up. She turned and caught my eye, nodded once. I nodded back. At 5:45 p.m., the music changed. The guests stood. Sophia appeared at the end of the aisle. She was stunning. White gown, lace sleeves, a cathedral veil that trailed behind her like a river. Our father on her arm, beaming, walking her down the aisle like he'd paid for everything himself, which, technically, he had. Just not with his money. I watched them pass. My mother was in the front row, crying, dabbing her eyes with a handkerchief. I felt nothing. No, that's a lie. I felt everything. Rage, grief, betrayal, vindication. All at once, Sophia reached the altar. Derek took her hand. They smiled at each other like they were the only 2 people in the world. I looked down at my purse. The note cards were inside. 3 minutes from now, this would all be different. The ceremony was short. Vows, rings. A reading from Corinthians about love being patient and kind. I almost laughed at that part. The officiant said, "I now pronounce you husband and wife." Derek kissed Sophia. Everyone cheered. Birdseed flew through the air as they walked back down the aisle, married, glowing, completely unaware of what was coming. Cocktail hour was in the garden. Past appetizers, an open bar. A jazz trio playing in the corner. I didn't eat. Couldn't. Jade got me a glass of water. You're doing great. I haven't done anything yet. You're here, that's something. At 7:30 p.m., the coordinator announced that the ballroom was open. We filed inside. Grand chandeliers, gold accents, tables draped in ivory linens with centerpieces that must have been $140 each. I'd seen the charge. A dance floor in the center. A DJ booth. A head table where Sophia and Derek would sit with the wedding party. My parents were at table 2, front and center, both holding champagne flutes, both smiling. I sat at table 18, in the back, with Jade and Marcus and 3 cousins I hadn't spoken to in years. Dinner was served. Herb-crusted salmon, roasted vegetables, a salad with candied walnuts. I pushed food around my plate. The best man gave a speech, something funny about Derek's college years. The maid of honor gave a speech, something sweet about Sophia's kindness. Everyone laughed, applauded. Then the DJ said, "Anyone else want to share words for the happy couple?" The room went quiet. I stood up. Jade grabbed my hand, squeezed once. Let go. I walked to the microphone. The ballroom is silent. 218 people. I counted during the ceremony. I stand at the head table, microphone in hand, evidence folder in the other. Sophia is 10 feet away. Her face is confused, curious, not worried yet. My parents are at table 2. My mother is smiling. My father raises his champagne glass slightly, like he's encouraging me. They think I'm going to give a nice speech. They're wrong. I clear my throat. The microphone crackles. Good evening, everyone. My voice is steady, stronger than I expected. For those who don't know me, I'm Zoe Sophia's twin sister. We've shared everything since birth. Same birthday, same face, Same family. I pause. Or so I thought. A few people shift in their seats. I want to talk about love tonight. Because this wedding is about love, right? About commitment. About partnership. About trust. Sophia is watching me carefully now. Her smile is fading. But let me tell you what my parents taught me about love. I open the folder. Pull out the first credit card statement. Hold it up so the room can see. 6 weeks ago, I discovered that my mother and father committed identity theft against me. Gasps, scattered at first, then spreading like wildfire through the room. My father stands abruptly. His chair scrapes against the floor. Zoe, this is not the time. I talk louder. They opened 4 credit cards in my name without my knowledge or consent. More gasps, whispers starting, phones coming out. And they stole $21,683 from me. The room erupts. People talking, shouting. Sophia's mouth is open, frozen. My mother stands. Zoe, you're lying. This is a misunderstanding. Is it? I hold up the Capital One statement. This is Capital One, opened May 18th. My graduation day. I pull out the Bank of America statement. Bank of America, opened January 2023, 2 weeks after Sophia got engaged. Chase, opened February 2023. Discover, opened March 2023. I set them on the table. These are the statements. Mailed to their house. In my name, with my social security number. My date of birth. My signature forged. The crowd is standing now. Some people booing. Others staring in shock. Aunt Rosa is on her feet, nodding, arms crossed. Sophia is crying. Zoe, what are you talking about? I turn to her. My voice softens. You didn't know, I believe that, but they used my credit to pay for this. I gesture around the ballroom. While I worked 25 hours a week and lived on ramen, they used my identity to fund your dream wedding. I pull out the timeline. The first card was opened 2 weeks after you got engaged. The last charge was made on my graduation day. I point to specific lines on the statement. This florist bill, $2,100 charged to my Capital One. Someone in the crowd yells, "Oh my God." This DJ, $1,850, my Bank of America. Uncle Tom stands up. Jesus Christ, Richard. This catering deposit, $3,200, my Chase card. My father tries to approach. It was a loan. We were going to pay you back. I pull out the police report, hold it up. A loan requires consent. My voice cracks, but I keep going. You stole my social security number. You forged my signature. You intercepted my mail. The crowd turns on them. Someone shouts, "That's disgusting." Aunt Rosa, I'm ashamed to call you family. Cousin Isabella is crying. I should have said something. Uncle Carlos, my dad's brother, stands and points at my father. How could you do this to your own daughter? My mother is shaking. We were desperate. We didn't have the money. You had my money, I say. Money I didn't have. Money I'll spend years paying back. I pull out another document. Here's the mail forwarding confirmation, filed from your IP address. Another document. Here's the text where you asked for my social security number. March 2023. You said it was for insurance. Another. Here's the bank affidavit confirming fraud. I look at the crowd. I filed a police report. Case number 2-024-081547. Sacramento PD, Officer Marcus Reyes. You can call and verify. People are pulling out phones. Some are recording. At least 30 cameras pointed at me. At my parents. This is going viral. Good. I want everyone here to know who paid for this wedding. My voice is loud now. Clear. Powerful. Not my parents. They're unemployed. Me. My credit. My future. My identity. My mother tries to speak. We were going to tell you. When? I cut her off. After my credit was destroyed? after I couldn't rent an apartment or get a loan or pass a background check? She has no answer. I graduated MIT with a 4. I earned a $45,000 scholarship. I published research. I won awards. My voice breaks. And my parents gave me a $25 gift card. I pull it out of my purse. Hold it up. $25, while they stole $21,000. The room is chaos now. Security guards are moving toward me. Jade and Marcus rush to my side. The venue coordinator is trying to clear the space, frantically speaking into her headset. Sophia has collapsed into her chair. Derek is holding her. She's sobbing. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I believe her. But it doesn't change what happened. My father tries one more time. Zoe, please. We can talk about this privately. You had 18 months to talk. My mother is screaming now. You're destroying this family. No. I look her in the eye. You did that. Aunt Rosa pushes through the crowd, wraps her arms around me. Thank you for being brave, Mija. Cousin Isabella is next. I'm so sorry I didn't speak up. A stranger, someone from Derek's side, stops me on the way out. You did the right thing. 12 people applaud as I walk toward the exit. My parents try to follow. Security blocks them. One of the guards, a man in his 50s, looks at my father with disgust. Sir, you need to leave. This is my daughter's wedding. And you need to leave. Outside, the air is cool. The sun is setting over the lake. I can hear shouting from inside the ballroom, crying, chaos. Jade puts her arm around me. You did it! I'm so fucking proud of you. Marcus hands me his phone. I recorded everything. That's evidence if you need it. My phone is buzzing. 47 texts in 3 minutes. I don't read them. I just breathe. For the first time in 6 weeks, I feel like I can breathe. The first hour was a blur. I sat in Jade's car in the country club parking lot, hands shaking, phone vibrating non-stop in my purse. Marcus stood outside talking to security, making sure my parents weren't following us. Jade held my hand and didn't say anything, which was exactly what I needed. Finally, I pulled out my phone. 47 texts had become 93. Aunt Rosa, I'm so proud of you, Mija. You did the right thing. Cousin Isabella, I posted a video on TikTok. I hope that's okay. People need to know. High school friend Emma, holy shit, Z, are you okay? I saw the video. MIT classmate David, just saw what happened. You're incredibly brave. Uncle Carlos, your father is dead to me. I scrolled through them, numb. Then I opened TikTok. Isabella's video was at the top of my feed. 40 seconds of me at the microphone. My voice clear and steady. They stole $21,683 from me. The gasps from the crowd. My father standing, shouting. My mother crying. The credit card statements held up to the camera. The caption, my cousin just exposed her parents for identity theft at her sister's wedding. 18 months of fraud. $21K stolen. This is what financial abuse looks like. The video had 890,000 views in 1 hour. The comments were flooding in. This is heartbreaking. Sue them into oblivion. Identity theft is a felony. Those parents belong in prison. The fact that she had receipts, the timeline, the police case number, icon behavior. I can't believe they gave her $25 while stealing $21K. $25. The way the crowd turned on the parents. Chef's kiss. I watched the video 3 times. Watched myself stand up. Watched myself speak. Watched myself refuse to be silenced. I looked different than I expected. Stronger. Calmer. Like someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Maybe I did. My mother tried to call 17 times. My father sent 12 texts before I'd blocked his number earlier that day. Sophia sent one message at 9:15 p.m. I can't believe they did this. I'm so sorry, Z. I had no idea. Can we talk? I stared at it for a long time. Typed. I know you didn't know. I'm not angry at you, but I need time. Sent it. Three dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Sophia, I understand. I love you. Me, I love you too. By midnight, the video had 1.2 million views. By morning, it was on Twitter, Reddit, Facebook. Local news outlets were calling Aunt Rosa for comments. A reporter from the Sacramento Bee left a voicemail. We'd like to interview you about financial abuse and family fraud. This is an important story. Attorney Marcus Chen emailed at 10:34 p.m. I saw the video. Come see me Monday. We have a strong case now, public confession caught on camera. This changes everything. Detective Kowalski texted. Saw the video. Well done. This strengthens the DA's case significantly. Your parents' defense just collapsed. I turned off my phone, climbed into Jade's guest bed, and slept for 14 hours straight. Legal process. Monday morning, I met attorney Marcus Chen at his office. He had the TikTok video pulled up on his computer. Had watched it 6 times, he said. Your father admitted it on camera, Marcus said, pointing to the timestamp where my dad shouted, It was a loan! That's a confession. In front of 200 witnesses. What does that mean? It means the DA's case is airtight. Your parents will almost certainly take a plea deal. Going to trial would be suicide for them. He was right. 3 weeks later, September 14th, I sat in a courtroom on the 3rd floor of the Sacramento County Superior Court building. Jade was on my left, Aunt Rosa on my right. Marcus Chen sat behind me in the gallery. My parents sat at the defendant's table with their court-appointed attorney, a tired-looking woman in her 40s who kept whispering to them urgently. They looked smaller than I remembered. My mother had lost weight. Her face was gaunt. She wouldn't look at me. My father stared straight ahead, jaw tight, hands folded on the table. The judge, a black woman in her 60s with sharp eyes and no patience, read the charges aloud. Richard Martinez and Patricia Martinez, you are charged with 4 counts of identity theft under Penal Code 530.5, 1 count of fraud, and 1 count of mail fraud. How do you plead? Their lawyer stood. My clients plead guilty to all charges, Your Honor. Guilty. Just like that. No trial, no defense. Just guilt. The judge made notes. The court accepts the plea. Sentencing will proceed. The prosecutor, a man in his 30s with a sharp suit and sharper demeanor, stood and outlined the case. The timeline. The dollar amounts. The forged signatures. The intercepted mail. He held up printed screenshots from the TikTok video. The defendants not only committed these crimes, Your Honor, but attempted to justify them publicly. Mr. Martinez called it a loan, despite the victim never consenting, never signing documentation, and never receiving any funds. Then it was my turn. The judge asked if I wanted to read my victim impact statement. I stood, walked to the podium, unfolded the paper I'd written 3 days ago. Your Honor, my name is Zoe Martinez. I'm 22 years old. I graduated from MIT this year with a 4 gigapascals and a degree in robotics engineering. My voice was steady. My parents stole my identity over the course of 18 months. They opened 4 credit cards in my name without my knowledge. They forged my signature. They intercepted my mail. They spent $21,683 on my sister's wedding while I worked 3 jobs and took out $89,000 in student loans. I looked up at the judge. They didn't just steal money. They stole my trust, my security, my belief that family means unconditional love. My mother was crying silently at the defendant's table. I didn't look at her. I spent 4 years sacrificing everything for my education. I lived on ramen and library air conditioning. I worked 25 hours a week. I slept in a lab over winter break because I couldn't afford to go home. And the entire time, my parents were stealing from me to fund a party. I looked at my parents now. When I graduated, they gave me a $25 gift card. They'd already used $1.24 of it for gas. That's what I was worth to them. My father's head dropped. I don't want them in prison, but I want them to understand that what they did wasn't a mistake. It wasn't desperation. It was a choice. They chose my sister over me. They chose appearances over integrity. They chose to steal rather than be honest. I folded the paper. I'm asking the court to order full restitution, probation, and mandatory financial counseling. I want every dollar back, and I want them to know that their actions have consequences. I sat down. The courtroom was silent. The judge took off her glasses, looked at my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Martinez, I've presided over financial fraud cases for 20 years. I've seen parents steal from their children for drugs, for gambling, for greed. But this, she gestured to the evidence binder on her desk. This is one of the most calculated, prolonged, and emotionally devastating cases I've encountered. My mother sobbed. You didn't steal from your daughter in a moment of desperation. You planned this for 18 months. You timed it around her busiest semesters. You intercepted her mail. You forged legal documents. And when she confronted you publicly, you called it a misunderstanding. The judge put her glasses back on. This court finds your actions reprehensible. Family relationships do not exempt criminal behavior. In fact, they make it worse. She read the sentence. Mr. Richard Martinez, 18 months probation, 200 hours community service, full restitution of $21,683, plus interest and legal fees. Mandatory financial counseling. If you violate probation, you will serve 2 years in county jail. My father nodded, face blank. Mrs. Patricia Martinez, 12 months probation, 150 hours community service, joint liability for restitution, mandatory financial counseling, same conditions. The judge looked at me. Miss Martinez, the court also grants your request for a restraining order. Your parents are prohibited from contacting you directly or indirectly for 2 years. Violation will result in immediate arrest. She banged the gavel. We're adjourned. Outside the courtroom, Aunt Rosa hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. You won, mija. You won. Detective Kowalski shook my hand. You should be proud. Most victims don't have the courage to do what you did. Marcus Chen handed me paperwork. They'll start making payments next month. $800 a month for 52 months. It's court ordered, so if they miss a payment, we file a motion and they go to jail. 52 months, I repeated. That's 4 years. That's justice. Family aftermath. The fractures happened fast. Sophia texted me 3 days after the wedding. I'm so angry at them. But I'm also angry you chose my wedding. Can we talk in a few months? I wrote back. I understand. I'll be here when you're ready. She didn't respond. We didn't speak for 8 months. Aunt Rosa went full no contact with her brother, stopped inviting him to family events, told everyone who'd listen what he'd done. You're not the man I thought you were, she told him at a family barbecue 2 months later, in front of 15 people. Then she walked out. My maternal grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Lou, called me a week after the sentencing. We're ashamed of your mother, Grandma said, her voice shaking. We didn't raise her to do this. I know. We're sending you money for what they stole. It's not enough, but you don't have to do that. We do. Please let us. A week later, a check for $2,000 arrived in the mail. I cried when I deposited it. My father's brother, Uncle Carlos, sided with my parents at first. Family handles things privately, he said when Aunt Rosa confronted him. Airing this publicly was cruel. Aunt Rosa stopped speaking to him. So did I. My parents lost everything else too. My father's part-time consulting gig ended after a client Googled his name and found articles about the case. My mother's book club asked her to leave after one of the members saw the TikTok video and shared it in the group chat. Their neighbors stopped waving. Their church community gossiped until they stopped attending. According to Aunt Rosa, my parents' credit was destroyed ironic, and they couldn't get approved for an apartment lease. They moved in with my mom's sister in Stockton, an hour away, in a guest room that smelled like cats. Their marriage was strained. Aunt Rosa overheard an argument during a family event. My mother screaming that it was my father's idea. My father yelling that she went along with it. Neither of them took responsibility. On Thanksgiving 2024, I spent the holiday with Aunt Rosa, Jade's family, and cousin Isabella. 8 people total, small but warm. We cooked turkey and mashed potatoes and laughed until our sides hurt. No one mentioned my parents. No one asked if I felt guilty. Aunt Rosa raised a glass at dinner. "To Zoe," she said, "the bravest person I know." Everyone echoed, "To Zoe." I cried. The good kind. Christmas was different. I didn't go home, there was no home to go to. Instead, I volunteered at a homeless shelter downtown, serving food and wrapping donated gifts. Then, Jade and I went to a movie marathon and ate popcorn until we felt sick. It was the best Christmas I'd ever had. Unexpected support. A week after the sentencing, my high school guidance counselor, Mrs. Alvarez, emailed me. "Zoe, I just heard what happened. I always knew you were special. I'm so sorry your parents didn't see it. If you ever need a reference or just someone to talk to, I'm here." I cried reading it. My MIT alumni mentor, Dr. Ramirez, reached out too. "Saw the news. What you did took incredible courage. Let me know if you need job references. You're going to do amazing things." She connected me with 3 recruiters. I had 5 job interviews within a month. A distant cousin, I'd never met someone on my dad's side, living in Oregon, sent me $500 via Venmo with a note. "For what they stole from you emotionally, you deserved better." I didn't know what to say. So I just said thank you. Time jump. 2 years later, August 2026. I'm 24 now. I live in a studio apartment in Cambridge, 10 minutes from MIT's campus. It's small, 400 square feet, but it's mine. I pay $1,650 a month in rent, and I've never missed a payment. The walls are covered in art I bought from local galleries. Plants sit on every flat surface, succulents, pothos, a fiddle leaf fig that I've somehow kept alive for 8 months. My kitchen is stocked with real food. I cook meals. I host dinner parties. I have a cat named Justice. Jade's idea. I loved it immediately. Financial recovery. My credit score is 720. It took 14 months of disputes, paperwork, and phone calls with credit bureaus, but every fraudulent account was removed from my report. The identity theft flag stayed on for 2 years, a protective measure, and then it came off. I have $12,400 in savings. The first time my account balance went over $10,000, I stared at it for 10 minutes and cried. I've received $19,200 in restitution so far, $800 a month for 24 months. Exactly as the court ordered. My parents have never missed a payment. I think they're terrified of going to jail. I've paid off $8,000 in legitimate student loans. I have $81,000 left, but I'm chipping away at it. I put an extra $200 toward it every month. I have an emergency fund, 6 months of expenses, sitting in a high-yield savings account. For the first time in my life, I feel financially secure. Career success. I work as a software engineer at a tech startup in Boston. I started at $95,000 a year. After 10 months, they promoted me to senior engineer. Now I make $110,000. I'm not rich, but I'm stable, comfortable. I can buy groceries without checking my bank account first. I can go to a coffee shop and order whatever I want. That's wealth. I mentor 2 undergrad women in MIT's robotics program. I guest lecture once a semester, talking about neural networks and machine learning. The students call me Dr. Martinez, even though I'm not a doctor, and I don't correct them. On the side, I built a budgeting app for survivors of financial abuse. It's free. It has over 3,000 downloads. I get emails from users every week thanking me, telling me it helped them escape toxic situations. That matters more than the paycheck. Relationships rebuilt. Sophia and I talk twice a month now. It took 8 months for her to reach out after the wedding. We met for coffee in a neutral location, a Starbucks halfway between Boston and where she'd moved in San Diego. She cried for the first 20 minutes. I didn't know, she kept saying. I swear I didn't know. I know. If I'd known, I would have stopped them. I know. She told me she'd divorced Derek after 14 months. Unrelated issues, he'd been cheating. She seemed lighter without him. We don't talk about our parents unless she brings it up, which is rare. We talk about work, about her new apartment, about the triathlon she's training for. We're sisters. But we're not close anymore. Maybe someday. Maybe not. I'm okay with either. Jade is still my best friend. She got married 6 months ago to her girlfriend Marcus, the lawyer, not the detective, and I was her maid of honor. I cried during my speech, talking about how she saved me when I didn't know I needed saving. We have dinner every Thursday. It's our tradition. Aunt Rosa and I talk every week. She's the closest thing I have to a mother now. She calls me Mija and sends me care packages and shows up at my apartment unannounced with Tupperware full of homemade tamales. I love her more than I can say. Cousin Isabella and I meet for brunch once a month. We trauma bonded over our family's dysfunction. She's in therapy too. We compare notes and laugh at things that aren't funny and hold space for each other's healing. I'm dating someone. His name is Alex. We met through work. He's a project manager at a company we partnered with. We've been together for 6 months. He knows the whole story. I told him on our third date, expecting him to run. He didn't. Your parents don't define you, he said. You do. I'm still learning to believe that. Emotional healing. I've been in therapy for 2 years, weekly sessions at first. Now bi-weekly with Dr. Patel, a woman in her 50s who specializes in family trauma. The breakthrough came 9 months in. I was talking about my parents again and Dr. Patel stopped me. Zoe, what would change if they apologized? I thought about it. I don't know. Maybe I'd feel validated. You don't need their apology to know your worth. That sentence rewired my brain. I don't need them to apologize. I don't need them to admit they were wrong. I don't need them to see me. I see me. That's enough. I journal now. Every morning, I write 3 pages. Letters to my younger self. Processing grief. Documenting joy. Some entries are painful. I'm still angry. I don't know if that will ever go away. Some are hopeful. I went to the farmer's market today and bought flowers just because I wanted to. That feels like freedom. I attend a support group for adult children of narcissists. Once a month, 8 of us sit in a circle in a community center basement and talk about boundaries, about grief, about the families we deserved versus the ones we got. It helps to know I'm not alone. I don't check my parents' social media anymore. I blocked them on every platform 2 years ago. I don't ask Aunt Rosa about them unless she volunteers information, which is rare. I don't wonder if they think about me. I don't care. That's progress. Current relationship status. I haven't spoken to my parents in 2 years. The restraining order expired after 2 years. I chose not to renew it. I don't need it. They've given up. The last attempted contact was 7 months ago. My father sent a handwritten letter, forwarded through Aunt Rosa. I'm sorry. I was desperate. I made a mistake. I read it once. Filed it in a box labeled evidence that I keep in my closet. Didn't respond. Sorry doesn't undo identity theft. Sorry doesn't rebuild credit. Sorry doesn't erase 18 months of betrayal. Sorry is just a word. My mother sent flowers on my birthday this year, a bouquet of white roses with a card. We miss you. Love, Mom. I donated them to a hospital. My mom tried reaching out through Grandma Liu a few weeks later, asking for one conversation. I declined. I have nothing to say to her. Grandma understood. I don't feel guilty about no contact anymore. Therapy helped release the obligation to forgive. Forgiveness isn't required for healing, Dr. Patel said. Sometimes the healthiest thing you can do is walk away. So I did. Sophia and I have a complicated relationship now. We love each other. But there's distance. a wound that healed crooked. She respects my boundaries. She never pressures me to reconcile with our parents. She never plays mediator. Sometimes she talks about them, how they're struggling financially, how my mother's depression has worsened, how they never leave the house. I listen. I don't respond with much. I don't wish them harm. But I don't wish them well either. I just wish them away from me. Found family? Jade, Marcus, Aunt Rosa, Cousin Isabella, Alex. They're my family now. We spend holidays together. We show up for each other. We celebrate wins and hold space for losses. That's what family should be. Final reflection. I learned something these past 2 years. Family isn't who shares your DNA. It's who shows up. My parents didn't show up, not when it mattered. But Jade did. Aunt Rosa did. Marcus Chen did. Even strangers on the internet did. So I built a new family. One that doesn't steal from me. One that doesn't gaslight me. One that sees me. People ask if I regret exposing them at the wedding. I don't. It wasn't about revenge. It was about truth. They wanted me to stay small and silent and grateful for scraps. I chose myself instead. That $25 gift card, I framed it. It hangs in my apartment, right next to my MIT diploma. It reminds me what I was worth to them and what I'm worth to myself. I graduated MIT. I rebuilt my credit. I built my career. I built my life. And I did it without them. Some people say that's sad, that I should reconcile. That family is forever. I say, family is a choice, and I chose me. That's my happy ending. Closing image. It's a Saturday morning in August. I'm sitting in my apartment, sunlight streaming through the window, coffee brewing, Justice purring on the couch beside me, my laptop open to a coding project. My MIT diploma hangs on the wall. Next to it, a photo. Me with Jade and Aunt Rosa at Thanksgiving, all of us laughing. Below that, another photo. Me with Alex, Marcus, Isabella, my chosen family at Jade's wedding. And in the corner, in a small black frame, the $25 Visa gift card. Current balance, $23.76. I look at it sometimes when I need to remember. Not who they were, who I am. They tried to price me. I became priceless. If this story resonated with you, you're not alone. Financial abuse is real. Identity theft by family members is more common than you think, and you deserve justice, not just closure. Check your credit report, set boundaries, choose yourself. You don't owe anyone access to your life just because they're family. This is Achiever Betrayed, where we tell the stories of people who refuse to stay silent. If you've experienced something similar, drop a comment. Your story matters. And remember, they can take your credit, your money, your peace, but they can't take your worth. You decide that.